What time is it? Jesus, late this morning, 9 o'clock in the AM. I'm usually up about past 5, 6 o'clock. You want to get up early if you want to beat me to the fucking mailbox, Mr. Mailman. My morning clearing of the head. Right, firstly, anyone with a couple of 5-cent coins to rub together can have the IQ of people like, this isn't just, okay, it's not all about you, mate, alright, okay, didn't your mum love you enough or something? Do you need a cuddle? It's not all about you, but I'm just using your handle, okay? Is that okay with you? Since it's okay for you to be Gronk? Right. Anyone can get on the people's comments and people's pages and be a fucking a zero value troll. Right? I've got some chooks out the back that could walk all over the keyboard and write something stupid. Right? At how about 8611, I'm just using you as an example. Why? Because you made an example of yourself. No one would be better placed to comment on simple things than you, David. And is that the best you can do? Thought so. I'm trying to dumb myself down for people like you, and you're trying to fucking sound intelligent with shit like that. Sorry, mate. Sorry, mate. At least you tried. At least you tried to rob some kind of value. At least you tried to knock someone down who's actually trying to make some kind of a positive difference. Okay? I take an approach to things that'll have many little nuggets in it, little key points, little triggers to trigger people. Now, there's all sorts of ways that you can get people to remember things. There's all sorts of ways that you can get people to pay attention. There's all sorts of ways that you can intimidate people. There's all sorts of ways that you can make people feel comfortable. There's all sorts of ways. Now, quite often if I'm referring to somebody else's post, which I'm going to do in the next video, this is just my morning clear my head thing. If I don't, I have this shit rattling around in my head all day. And it builds and builds and builds. And by the end of the day I can't get any fucking sleep. Is that ADD? No, there's no such fucking thing. Alright? It's called a lack of fucking nose. It's called you never heard the word no, you was never told to fucking behave. And it's also a lack of being able, it's a fault on the educator's behalf, on your teacher's behalf, on the people who are responsible to raise you in the path in which you should go. So if you were to wander from it when you are older, you can find your way back. People say, it even says it, I'm pretty sure in scripture, so that they do not wander from it when they are older. I say it a bit different because in today's day and age, everyone wanders from it. Why? Because they are misled. It is very difficult to raise someone in the path in which they should go, to not have somebody else drag them off in a different direction, unless you live in an Amish community or something. Okay? because the church will drag them off in a direction in which that they should not go. The church downtown, not your church of people. The little weasel at the back of the room behind the pulpit. Now, I want to talk about your freedom of speech again. People like Meryl Dory from Informed Choices. Do you know a good way to stop people from silencing you, from censoring you so that your message doesn't get out? If you really have something important to get out to the rest of the world, to the rest of the country, to the rest of the state, to the rest of your community, your neighbourhood, your city, town, you do it in carbon form. Oh, carbon, is that nasty word, carbon? Oh, fuck off. You're made of carbon, not water. Water just keeps you fucking malleable. Stops you turning back to the dust from whence you came. You know, carbon. Right. This is this whole digital bullshit. Even what I'm doing now, okay? I want to be very clear. Let me be very clear, says the politician. It's tremendous. They speak with the hands. Why? Because it's gestures that make things seem really fucking... Oh, this guy's... He means it. He's, it's tremendous. It's tremendous. It's a way of communicating to the crowd that you're on their side. We're balancing the odds. We're trying to have a balanced conversation here, and because they don't necessarily have the words, but they can run a country through a microphone. A microphone. It's just words through a microphone. Now, real words. See, they get all the freedom of speech they want with a microphone and a megaphone on a pulpit, on the screen, in front of the whole nation. They get to address the nation through every single digital platform there is, and nobody censors them, really, do they? The media doesn't censor them. Okay? The media doesn't censor politicians whatsoever at all. They claim that they do. It's all pretend arguments and pretend fights. Okay? The politician does not have the means to cut and shut a speech mid-speech and to, right? Doesn't have the means to create that argument, because it's not like he's going to read from a teleprompter and then gag himself and then take the gag back off and start reading again. Oh, they cut out what I said there. It has to be said in order for it to be cut out, to create the argument. It's all theatre, all of it. There is no such thing as freedom of press. There is no such thing as honest media. None of it is honest, and it is all biased. You're struggling to find an authentic, self-realised thought nowadays. You're struggling to find one. Most people do not have a moment of self-clarity, self-realised, authentic thought that is their very own finding. And that's why everyone's being led down the road of bullshit by the nose with a peg. They can't smell the bullshit because they're being led by the nose. Meryl Dory, Informed Choice. Another Australian creator who has been blocked, censored and kicked off of Substack. I feel guilty for continuing on this platform even though it is only temporary until I get my WordPress site up. But when I leave, I hope to take many of you with me. and I am no longer accepting paid subscriptions here. I hope Substack collapses under the weight of its compliance with tyranny. Three sentences. That's not even a paragraph. A paragraph is 5 sentences or more, generally. We'll call that a paragraph. Another Australian creator who has been blocked, censored and kicked off of Substack. Another Australian creator who has been blocked, censored and kicked off of Substack. In other words, nobody has to listen to you online. You can be blocked, censored and kicked off. Just like that can happen to me right here on Facebook. On YouTube, sorry, Facebook, as if I'd use that fucking thing again, ever again. I haven't been on Facebook for years. Just like it can happen to you on X, believe it or not. Just like it can happen to you on Rumble, believe it or not. All you have to do is go against the grain enough. All you have to do is piss off enough people so you get reported. Generally, all you have to do is to piss off enough people is make them question their own indoctrinated beliefs. They get angry with you for pointing out to them that they are wrong. It's all your fault, because nobody can take constructive criticism anymore. Nobody will correct themselves. Everybody would rather argue black and blue that they're right when they are wrong, than admit that they are incorrect and correct it. Simplistic ideologies, simplistic and willful ignorance keeps you dumb. I feel guilty for continuing on this platform, even though it is only temporary until I get my WordPress site up. But when I leave, so they're not kicked off yet, it's the setup. Censored and kicked off of Substack. But they're still getting the message out through Substack. When I leave, I hope to take many of you with me. You still think you're not stuck in a digital cult? All of you people that jump over and follow Meryl Dory, Meryl Dory is your cult leader, your digital cult leader. And you're hanging on every word that drips off of a chin. And I am no longer accepting paid subscriptions here. Tell me again that you don't ask for money while you're asking for money. I hope Substack collapses under the weight of its compliance with tyranny. I hope to create friction here so that we can now divide a bunch of my own followers from Substack, people from Substack, so that they'll come over to WordPress site, to WordPress, and start fighting amongst each other. When there was a time before the WordPress site existed, you were all united. Divide and conquer, divide and conquer, divide and conquer, divide and conquer. Just goes on and on and on and on and on. How do they keep managing to do it? How can they do it to such a huge amount of people? They don't. You're doing it. You're doing it yourself. By creating stupid little fights, by making stupid fucking statements. Like that other bloke, I've forgotten his name, forgotten what he said, because it's so fucking ridiculous and not important. I'm choosing it to go in the eye, out the mouth, and it's gone again. Why would I hang on to that information? Okay. The compliance with tyranny. You're already complying with tyranny by playing the game for it. I don't know how many ways it can be explained simplistically. It's way too complicated to explain in the way that you want to hear it, okay? You want it to sound complicated. You want it to sound like, oh, I'm so much smarter than this guy because he made this sound complicated and I simplified it. No. No. It's purposely misleading and confusing. It's purposely been made to look that way, when in actual fact it actually is very simple. Oh mate, it's simple. It really is that simple. It's that easy. It's so simple. You've seen it happen over and over and over again at high school. Why do you still fall for it? Limp Bizkit wrote a song about... Oh, that went down fucking 10 holes, but the right one. Limp Bizkit wrote a song about it. It's all about the he said, she said bullshit. Now you're going to get it. You'll be living with a fat lip. That caused them the fights. I'll just drop this here. I'll just drop this bit of bullshit here and watch everybody start fighting with each other. And then they start picking sides. And then they fight amongst themselves. And then you have more sides who fight amongst themselves. Because all of a sudden somebody over here they agree with who's on the other team. And then they fragment off and create a whole different independent. And the independents get their egos stroked and get led by the nose with the brown paper bag full of cash. The next thing you know, the country's being run by a shitload of Craig Kellys and Pauline Hansons, who are knocking about with Gina Reinhardt and co. Oh, but we're on Team Pauline Hanson. Why aren't you on your own team? Why aren't you on Team Australia? Why aren't you on Team Mankind? Can you not grasp that? Can you not grasp that simplicity, that it's not about voting for a whole bunch of other teams like it's the season of football, like it's Bathurst, all chasing their own arse round and round and round the circle like it's Speedway? You know what you're doing at Speedway, right? Trying to be the fastest person to catch your own ass. You know what physics is bullshit? A lot of physics? It's just a little. I'll just drop this one here for you if you want to have a squabble over shit. Judging by the current trends of the current beliefs in science, that eventually we'll get so fast that we'll finish a race before we start it. We'll leave the start line before the green flag drops without jumping the mark. I've heard that argued many times. I just walk away shaking my head going, you know why you can't? Because you cannot see something until light is on it. You cannot travel faster than the speed of light. Because the speed of light is the speed of sight. You can only match it. Oh! Now I'll go on with this. Prison Planet. Prison Planet is already here. Substack is working for the global digital slavers, depriving Australians of free public discourse and choice to support independent writers. See that? That's writing. See that? That's keystroking. See that? That's what you write with. See that? That's what you keystroke with. That's what you stroke each other's ego with. That's what you're circle jerking with. That is difficult to ignore. However, I don't have one handy. That is only matched by the sword, not mightier than. It is only matched by the sword at the end of a sword. The pen is not mightier than the sword. The sword wields the pen. The pen remains sheathed as long as the sword remains sheathed. Pull the sword out and the pen comes out. Okay, I'll sign the treaty. Just don't cut off my head. This post is an unscheduled urgent message from a former Substack author, Excess Deaths, EDAU, based in Australia. We were subscribing to each other's publications and I enjoyed their well-researched, thoughtfully written articles. Due to the Australian draconian censorship laws and technology that they are installing to control the population via digital biometric real-time tracking, this publication is now shut down. The archive of EDAU is available on Wayback Machine, the Wayback Machine, containing bio-defence work and naming Australian military political criminals. Installing. It was already installed as soon as fibre optics were down. It was way before that. It was installed with dial-up internet. It was already installed. The means of control was already installed and already hard at work back in the days of dial-up. You know, when you had to dial a number and put your phone on and it'd make all them cool fucking squawky noises and you'd wait for 5 or 10 minutes. And you had... It was time limited on how long you could use it because of data and bandwidth constraints on copper wire. So people spent an hour or two on the internet and the rest of their time actually doing shit, actually making a difference of some sort. People still went to offices to use their freedom of speech. And what did they do online? You know, sent faxes, ran their businesses, you know, made things a little bit more streamlined so that somebody who needed some information didn't have to wait days for snail mail to bring it to them. They could get that information within half an hour. Rip, and they'd read it in carbon form, and they had a paper trail which made everything verifiable without any dis or misinformation. The simplicity of things that work. See, there's nothing wrong with simple. Keep it simple, stupid. It works. Don't fix it, it ain't broken. Alright? What? You get that one? Does that make sense to you? Makes perfect fucking sense to people that have common sense. They're installing, due to the Australian draconian censorship laws, been around forever. I remember as a kid, my grandfather always used to write letters into the Advocate and the Australian and pretty much every newspaper you could think of in Australia. Murdoch print media, Kerry Packer print media. Kerry Packer went away from print media and went to television to why? To open the door for Rupert Murdoch. Well, do you think Kerry Packer and Rupert Murdoch was in competition with one another, do you? Kerry Packer backdoored it through cricket. I don't like cricket. Oh no. We love it. Through a great marketing campaign, he bought, was it Channel 7? So, the draconian censorship's always been here. We've been told what to think by Joe Cornish, Joe Palmer, who's now a politician. Geez, how'd that happen? How wonder. She goes from Miss Australian, for being pretty. She was very pretty. She's looking at me tired now. Sorry, Joe. I used to have a little crush on you, Joe. We won't go there. I used to watch the news just to watch Joe. Back when the news had some credibility. Grandad used to hang on every word and then watch the ABC, because the ABC has to tell the truth, but the others don't. The ABC's the worst. Paid for with our taxes. In other words, they work for the government. It's government funded. No such thing as government funded. But, tomatoes, tornadoes. Tomatoes, tornadoes. Tomatoes, tornadoes. The only difference is now that they can censor you online in real time. It's the only difference. But you know what they can't censor, the way that they can't censor you in real time? Face to face. Don't be scared to get arrested. Don't be scared to get dragged off by police and ridiculed a little bit. Just make sure that what you're saying is on point. When they go to make an announcement at opening up the football stadium, I'm thinking about being there to ask them why they got money to spend on a football stadium when we've got a health system that's actually turned into a health service that's actually turned into a medical system. And why we have to spend money to go through freedom of information to get our medical records and all of our health records, to find that they're heavily redacted and we're not allowed to know anything about our own health. But we paid money to do it. Freedom of information isn't free. And the information is redacted. Your own medical records. If a doctor has written something there in a negative light about you, they don't want to be outed for writing that. So the name of the doctor that wrote it and what they wrote is redacted. You don't know who said what. And then you wonder why you go to the hospital and you can't get pain relief if they've ever had some kind of inkling that maybe you might be on drugs, when maybe you might be fucking going through some shit. Maybe it's the drugs that they're giving you that's making you seem like you're on drugs. Oh, you have an addiction. There's a pill for that. There's a whole myriad of pills for that. They might make you feel depressed. The side effect might be psychological suicidal tendencies. That's the thing. For depression pills. Oh, but drugs are bad. So, I'm sorry. What's your name? Meryl Dory? Dory? Isn't that the forgetful fish of Finding Nemo? There is no such thing as freedom of speech online, people. All there is echo chambers and trolls. Send an email. First couple of lines. Send multiple emails. I don't like this person. You're blocked from their server. I can't send Giovanna Simpson an email because I called her a filthy grub. Well, I'm sorry, but that's what you are, Giovanna. You're a filthy fucking grub. A filthy perverted grub. Parading people with gender dysphoria around in a fucking council meeting, saying that these people have rights too, you know, and that you should refer to them as their pronouns. No, you fucking shouldn't. Yes, yes, they are people too. Yes, they deserve some kind of acknowledgement. They deserve some kind of acknowledgement by an actual health professional, a proper mental and psychological health professional, maybe a fucking church, maybe, you know, a level-headed conservative Christian, to explain to them why they cannot go to a girl's toilet and flop their dick out. To explain to them why it's not cool to wear a dress and have a beard. To explain to them why men can't have babies, nor should transhumanism allow it and make it possible. To explain to them why feeding that gender dysphoria is only going to make them worse, and one day when they can't have children and they realise what they have done to themselves or their parents have done to them, they are going to now feel like they are nothing and probably commit suicide. The highest suicide rates in the world are people suffering gender dysphoria. So I'm sorry, it is not a pronoun, it is not a gender, it is a psychological illness that needs attention in a caring manner. You can't hate these people, they've been fucked around with. However, those who are fucked around with to the point in a demonic way, fucking around with kids, sorry, get in your 8-foot box, get in your 8-foot square box and live there until the day that you've finished. When do you get to come out? When you're ready to come out and work on the farm that produces the food that you have to eat, because if you don't get to eat. What's wrong with that? Why do we have to pay to feed these people? Why do we pay thousands of dollars a day per prisoner so that they can eat better than old age pensioners in an old folks home? So that they get every bloody cat here. So that they get all the creature comforts while old aged people, senior citizens if you want to call them, I call them senior sovereigns, not sovereign citizens. It's not a thing, sorry. Grow a brain, go and read some books. Or senior people, elderly people who have a wealth of knowledge to share, who get tucked away in an old folks home and treated like less than, medicated up the wazoo with antihistamines so they don't notice the scabies crawling around in their skin. If you're going to catch scabies, if you want scabies, go to an old folks' home. It's riddled with it. Lives in the carpet and stuff. They're a mite. There's bugs crawling in my skin. There's a good chance you probably have. If your bugs draw lines all over you. Now, it fucking pisses me off. It all pisses me off. It just pisses me off. I have to do these morning rants. I've got a heap of them I recorded and then deleted again. Like, you know, I'll go back and watch them and I'm like, I'm glad I did that though. Sometimes I'll upload them, but I don't always. Why? Because sometimes I'm like, wow, people will think I'm unhinged. I'm actually not unhinged. I'm getting off my chest what you're carrying that turns into twisted fucking bitterness. So all that you have to offer the world is fucking character assassination, calling people names, pointing and laughing at people's misfortunes. Zero value individuals. And people like you raise kids to be worse versions of even worse versions of you because they think it's okay. Because of why? Monkey see, monkey fucking do. Don't laugh at them when they're being a cunt. Pull them up on it. Check yourself. Stop being a cunt. Nobody likes an arsehole. Nobody likes a fucking snitch. Snitching for the sake of snitching. You're snitching on your neighbour because you went out without a mask. Snitching on your neighbour because they went for a walk together holding hands. They lived together and slept together, you fuckwit. While you're driving around in your own car by yourself wearing a mask. Hello? Hello, McFly? Is there anybody home? I'm not even sure the lights are on. Snitching on your neighbour who's hurting nobody because he's got one or two dope plants in his backyard which he grows every year to dry out and harvest and smoke for himself. You know, maybe give a little bit to a couple of his mates who are not hurting anybody else either. Alright, yeah, I totally disagree with you on that, Bosie. I've worked with people smoking God's herb, not the devil's fucking lettuce, who were fucking completely dysfunctional in life, who ended up actually adding value to their communities, running fucking harvesting, growing and planting crews, ending up full-time farm hands and a fucking major asset to that farm. Because growing that bit of pot put them into connection with God's earth. And they love growing stuff. It is a self-rewarding thing to watch a plant come to fruition. From that to watching a paddock full of fucking vegetables come to fruition, to watch it get harvested and to feel good about it. Look at all that. I was in charge of that. I made it grow. I did a thing. And that's going off to fucking feed thousands of people. And those people are completely dysfunctional without the pot. Why? Probably because of the imbalances in the fucking food that they get from the supermarket because of all the shit they're spraying on it and all the shit that they're fucking around with it nowadays, making farmers spray on it. A lot of these people know what's going on with the food. A lot of farmhands, people work on farms, still grow their own little patch of vegetables so that they don't have to have the fucking weird shit in it and put the weird shit in it so that their kids grow up healthy. That's why farmers' kids are never sick. How is it farmers in the mainland, like where it's much hotter and they're out in the sun and there's no real shelter, not like here in Tasmania, for generations, multi-generations, lived up until their hundreds, and the worst they had was a couple of sunspots on them. And nowadays, people are getting covered in melanomas and fucking... Come on, it's not the fucking hole in the ozone layer. If that was an actual real thing that was damaging to us, because that was around when I was a kid. That was how they justified the oncoming fucking ice age that we were supposed to have, which was written up about in Time magazine in the 70s, and then a couple of years later, climate change, global warming. We went from ice age to global warming, and neither of them have really happened. It's just a natural cycle of things that happen with the polar shift. Everything is misinformation, disinformation if it comes from above. What's my major point on this? You're not gonna fight the system. You can't. You can't come against it and expect to win. Can you punch a system in the face? No. Why? Because it's just a system. It's not even an inanimate object. It's not even a tangible thing. It's a nothing. It's a psychological contract. A system is nothing more than a psychological contract. It's not a method. Well, it's a method. You see, a mathematical system or method you can put on paper, right? And it's beneficial for everybody. But the governmental system that's designed by lawyers and accountants, who are all greedy people, who do not care about right, wrong. The lawyer doesn't give a fuck about the law. All the lawyer gives a fuck about is finding ways to fucking obfuscate the law. That's what they do for a living. They live and breathe that shit. What does an accountant do? Numbers. Crunches numbers. Money is numbers. Numbers go on forever, infinity. So no matter how big a number that they have, they're never going to be satisfied. They're just chasing more numbers for themselves. And these are the people that you vote for. These are the people that are actually running government. The bureaucrats. Lawyers and accountants and bankers. Bankers are just a glorified accountant. They found a way to have the biggest account. It's called their way to the top of the biggest account that they can get their hands on, called a bank. It's everyone's account. You can't beat them. All you can do is make them starve themselves into irrelevance. It's the only thing we can do. Understanding the Westminster system is standing under it. Comprehending it is the realisation that you can't beat it by standing under it. That's an enlightening moment, if you should all just figure it out. That's why I keep saying it's really that simple. Beating the system is the easiest thing to do once you realise it's just a system and you don't have to use it. You don't have to use it. But the problem is so many of you still using it, still listening to your fucking Meryl Dorys, and your Ricardo Bosies and your Carl Leibolds, and it's a classic fucking example. As if they're enemies, come on. Carl Leibold, David Guru Graham, and Kaz, and Ricardo Bosie, and Graham Hood, and Como John Wilson. All really good tight friends. Buddies. Toured Australia together. Probably with the money from Epic Park, as they set themselves up with mobile fucking media platforms. A fucking B10 bus from America, for fuck's sake. From doing a show on a fucking laptop with a hole in his fucking t-shirt to brand name clothings, travelling around in a fucking B10 bus from America that Tim Dwyer fucking helped him apparently make more efficient with his hydro cells. And then all of a sudden, Joel Jamal, there's another one. Bosie sitting there doing a fucking podcast with a couple of brothers with a fucking hooker bong on the fucking table. Hates pot. And there's a fucking bong on the fucking table. Back in 2020. There are some that say Ricardo Bosie, it works for Central Casting, and was the dude that pretended to be fucking shot playing the part of Muammar Gaddafi. I don't know, I cannot confirm nor deny that. Now that sounds like a far-out conspiracy theory, but it's one that's been tabled and floated around the world a couple of times. It fucking looks like him, doesn't he? An older version of Muammar Gaddafi. Colonel Gaddafi, you know, the ones that the Americans assassinated to install a fucking regime in the name of democracy when it was really about fucking destroying the gold standard and taking all the wealth. Going from the most functional, socially cohesive, wealthiest country with zero unemployment to the second, possibly the most corrupt country in the world with child sex trafficking, sex slavery, prostitution, drug trafficking. None of that existed there once. When Gaddafi was in control, none of that existed. Apparently, I don't know, like I said, I cannot confirm nor deny. It's not something I'm willing to fucking really comment on, other than he would have made a fucking really good fucking double for him, wouldn't he? Anyhow. Like, you know, is Bosie a plant to create fucking problems? Because everywhere he's gone, he's done his best to destroy a platform. And he's run with them, like, you know, good buddies, and all of a sudden, bam. Oh, they're a fucking Freemason. Fucking Mason, fucking filth. Yeah, Masons are filth. But a Freemason will lie to you about how bad Freemasons are to get you on side so that, you know, they can fucking hoodwink you. And I've seen Bosie pull out a couple of Freemason fucking hand signals a couple of times. I've seen him do it. I've seen him do it while arguing with fucking Cossacks standing there going like that. There's another one, Cossack. They were all of them. They used to have multi-fucking talking heads on the same screen at once, all fucking stroking each other's egos, and then slowly they fragmented as if they were fucking enemies, and fragmented one big group of Australians from all over Australia into multiple little fucking groups, all fighting with one another. Now Bosie's just done a thing with Robbie G, whoever Robbie G is. No, not Robbie G from GEE, it's just the letter G, so I don't know what his last name is. It starts with G, obviously. Ranting and raving and getting people all fucking G'd up and telling them what they want to hear about the town where he's from, about ice fucking dealing, child sex trafficking and prostitution by the police and the sergeants of the police and the commissioner for police and all the lawyers and all the judges. Why the fuck would you live there if that's the case? Let them eat themselves. Morning, Daniel. How'd you sleep, alright? Yeah. Would you like to do the cat litter for me when you're awake? I'll make you a coffee in a sec. Cheers, mate. Love you. Alright. Now, I better sort this boy out. He's not a boy, he's a young man. A fine young man is he. One day he'll find a good wife and they'll keep each other company. My point is, I've even watched how some of these people on these platforms, the followers, the goats that think that they are lambs, they're not even black sheep. I've watched them argue with each other. And I've watched some people staunch, fucking rusted on supporters chirping off at other people who are new into that platform, who might just fucking go in there, and after a couple of weeks, this is fucking weird. This is like a cult. Hey people, do you think this bloke's really got your best interest at heart? Because you go away for a few months, come back, and now he's still going on about the shape of the fucking planet, but he's gone from it being flat to a holographic simulation, to a hot dog shape, to the shape of infinity, to a globe, to an astral plane, and then back to a pizza again. That's Carl Leibold. He's all over the fucking place. He just agrees with whoever's on his platform. Remember when they was all saying, say no to digital currency, digital currency is going to take all your purchasing fucking ability away, you won't be able to do this and that and this and that and this and that, and they were right, you won't be able to, but as soon as fucking Trump's got his fucking comes along, oh, but this digital wallet's alright, and this digital currency's alright, and it'll be safe with blockchain, and we want to have an election system with blockchain, where you'll vote digitally with your fucking phone. That's all the bullshit the World Economic Forum wanted. They were all fighting against it, until Elon Musk comes along, clippity fucking clop, and was allowed to buy fucking Twitter and turn it into X. They're fucking pirates. And they're stealing your loyalty. Loyalty and honour are not the same. You can be loyal to your captor. You can be loyal to the bloke that keeps you chained up to the fucking steam pipe in the basement. I'm trying to think of the name of that. I bet you by the time my phone gets it, and someone's tried to ring me or some shit, I don't care. Loyalty to the person that kidnaps you and locks you in a basement.
I found this on the web.
Stockholm Syndrome. You've all got digital Stockholm Syndrome. You're loyal to the person that's fucking you over. That's not honour. They're using your honour, your loyalty to them, and your honour to one another, and then causing a little bit of friction. Somebody else comes in, causes a bit of friction, bam, and then next thing you know, that platform is broken into two. That little group of Stockholm Syndrome people. I like this kidnapper more than that kidnapper. Why? Well, he sounds more authentic because he swears a lot. I don't like this bloke because he swears too much. Ping! It's the biggest, I think the biggest ability why I'm able to see all this so clearly So I'm an only child from a broken home who went to a Catholic convent primary school that had morals, ethics, fucking strong disciplinary fucking measures for fucking up. Teachers that gave a shit, that gave up all entire lunch times to ensure that I eventually learnt by the end of grade 3 to be able to write like this. Because if you couldn't go to grade 4. Grade 3 to grade 4. People are leaving fucking college and cannot write like that. They can't even spell. They can't read. They have zero comprehension of the written word. In layman's speak, in the language of the commons, let alone in the hijacked languages, legalese, like the corporate language, legalese, or the Queen's English, or in layman's terms, language of the commons. They're English languages, guys. If you don't get your head around them, that's why you're getting fooled all the time in the spoken word. One man can address a nation with a couple of hand signals and be only speaking to somewhere else in the world, where he makes reference to Roman Latin, Greek Latin, layman's terms, corporate speak, the Queen's English. The Queen's English is derived more from Norse than anything. It's long, it sounds complicated, but there is no way that you can twist it to mean something else. Legalese is the language of the lawyers, where they use words derived from Roman and Greek Latin and little hand signals to one another, between the lawyer and the prosecutor, or a crooked judge, or between two lawyers supposedly fighting against each other, is dragging shit out and milking you fucking dry. You'd think they're on your side, because geez, those words sounded like they were in your favour. Well, those words were for you. Just like Roundup is for weeds. I don't care if you think I'm fucking bonkers. I don't care. Because I don't care that you think I'm bonkers, shows that if you've got a problem with me, then you've got a problem. For some reason, I'm living rent-free in your head, and I don't even know you. I'm going to go out and mow some lawns and enjoy the day for a little while shortly, because it's a beautiful day. And you're going to sit here and go, nyeh, like a little gremlin. And I'm going to wish you all the best, and God bless you, and I hope someday that you see everything for what it is. I hope someday that you find a way to pierce the veil. To lift the blinders that are over your eyes. To take the horse blinkers off and get rid of your tunnel vision. I'm making these posts, these videos, whatever you want to call them. I don't even know what to call this shit. I don't care. I'm not monetised. I'm not in it for the fame or the notoriety. I'm not in it to make friends. I'm quite happy with the amount of friends I have, and I can count them on one hand. I know many people. I've lived in 3 different states in this country. But I can count my friends on one hand. I can still count them all and remove a couple of digits. Because I know they got my back. And they know and the cards are down, I've got theirs. They know that I will jump into a brawl I know I'm going to fucking lose to make sure a kid gets out of a fucking bad situation. Why? Because better off I leave with a broken nose than they leave with a broken fucking soul. Or even worse, don't get to leave at all. So, I don't give a fuck if you like me or not, to be honest. I don't. I do give a fuck about this country. I do give a fuck about you. I don't give a fuck what you think of me. I care about you, your children, your extended family. I care about people in prison. I care about the people who would do me harm. Because I hope someday that they wake up to what's going on. And instead of just going on with it, because it's like, oh, if I lift my head up above the parapet, I might have to fucking get slapped and smacked a couple of times. I might not be popular with the fucking this side of the thin blue line. You know, or I might have to fucking look in the mirror and have a good hard fucking look at myself and admit that fucking I'm on the wrong side. Instead, I'll just double down and don't look up. Don't look up. What do you think that movie was all about? It just wasn't about 3 Hour Atlas either. Alright guys, God bless you. I'm going outside to enjoy the day for a while. Bye-bye.